twist cabbage on instinct. Don't think, stink pink gators. My Detroit players, Tim's for my hooligans in Brooklyn. Dead right, if the head right, Biggie there, air night. Papa been smooth since days of under rules. Never lose, never choose to. Bruise, cruise who? Do something to us. Talk, go through us. Girls want to us, wanna do us, screw us, who us? Yeah, Papa and Pump. Close like Starsky and Hutch, stick to clutch. Yeah, I squeeze three at your cherry M3, dang every.
Hey, this is Kirk.
And this is Byrd. It's the Kirk and Byrd show. We have a special guest with us today from the HPT. That's right, where Kirk and I are from. He's not from there, but he coaches there. So we love everything Hampton. So we've got Coach Jeffrey Super. Coach, go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah, I'm Jeff Super. I'm the head football coach at Kecoughtan High School. This is, I guess, what you want to classify as my second year. I almost classify it as my first year with the COVID short spring season, and I'm really getting my feet wet with the actual real, I guess, 9 or 10 game season for us this year. So,
yeah. Hey, Coach, I was, we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about because, we were in our heyday, I think, before you were born. But I'm
still in my heyday, man.
Yeah. I'm young, man.
I recently coached a youth and a middle school football championship in the last 5 years.
There you go. I mean, y'all look great.
Right.
I mean, I would have never guessed y'all were above the age of 30 when I first got on.
Thank you, Coach. I'm pulling for your Warriors.
So, Coach, you got a big game coming up against the Hampton Crabbers, who are back. Mike Smith got his 500th win. You're facing one of the best football coaches in the history of football. Talk to us about this upcoming game, the challenge, and the opportunity for you and the Kecoughtan Warriors.
Well, I'm not going to overlook tomorrow night. We have homecoming and senior night against Denby. But,
I'm sorry. I thought Hampton was next. No worries.
Yeah, we have Denby, but that's all right. I mean, that's, kind of the one that, is the, another city rivalry game that we have coming up. And, it's a huge game. I mean, Hampton, I was just watching a little bit of their game before I got on, playing Heritage tonight. They were 42-0 in the second quarter. I mean, it's just it's amazing. It's amazing what Coach Smith is doing. I mean, I was, kind of pondering through my mind that he's got 500 wins and that's 50-10 win seasons. I mean, just even saying that out loud is just insane. I mean, for as long as he's been doing it and the success that he's still having, at the age that he is. I mean, I don't want to, bash on his age, but it's amazing. I mean, you look at the amount of success and what he's still doing. He's kept up with the times. They're doing some spread stuff. They're still playing old school smash mouth football, but there's some RPO in what they're doing. And for somebody that has just kind of evolved with the times, I mean, he doesn't even have 100 losses. I mean,
97. Unbelievable.
I mean, when you're really, and when I was just kind of like looking at some of the stuff that he's accomplished, I mean, it's mind blowing. And, it's something that honestly, I couldn't even dream of, I mean, for him to be doing it as long as he has and still having the success that he's having, you hear rumbling, you hear people all the time from around the area just talking about him, he's got to give it up and, this, that, the other. But I don't know what else people want. I mean, he just played a fantastic Phoebus football team a couple weeks ago, and really went toe to toe and possibly had a chance to win the football game.
Absolutely.
Watching the film was just a couple breaks here and there. They're the team that's coming out on top in that football game, and it's going to be a huge challenge for us. If we don't take care of the football and if we don't play in front of the sticks, then we're going to not give ourselves a very good chance. But, I think the thing with us is, we're coming into this Denby game with a 3-3 record, but, we've probably let 2 games really slip away. And, it's disappointing because, we're our own fault for that. And, but, if we do the things that we're supposed to, we'll give ourselves a chance against a really great football team. And, that's all you can ask for.
Now, you Coach, don't admit this. I'm sorry, Rusty, but Bethel was probably one you let slip away, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's I put a lot of responsibility on myself for that game. It was a game where we gave up, I think about 50 yards of total offense, and they had negative yards in the second half. We played a great defensive game, but if there was a way to find a way to lose, we did. And I told our guys after that game that we didn't deserve to win that game. We did a lot of things that we were highly penalized. We turned the football over. We really didn't give ourselves a chance. We went down to the final second, but it was one of those games that we let slip away, and we're going to need to grab one of these. We're going to need to grab at least 2 out of these next 3 games to put ourselves in a position to be in the playoffs. And it's crazy. Like looking at it, we probably should be a 5-1 football team, at least a 4-2 football team, but we're not. We're 3-3, and your record is what you say, or Bill Parcells, I think, had the thing is you are what your record says you are. And right now we're a 3-3 football team, and we got to wear that.
So Coach, I'm looking at, and you've had some close games. I mean, the only game that that looks like they might have got a little bit away is Phoebus, but they're doing that to everybody, and they're one of the best teams in the state. And look, Kirk went to Phoebus. As much as it's a rivalry, I pull for all of our Hampton City schools. We play each other. No, it's a battle. But once you get outside of the district, like I'm pulling for you. But I see. Now either way, I love that you took the L to Bethel. We needed that. But I played. I don't know if you saw our show we did the other day with Coach Inco.
Yes.
But I played with him in high school, and I think he's going to be getting that. On the right track. And but look, Ward, that was a 1-point game, and then you took care of business against Heritage and Gloucester. No, that's good stuff. And Tab, and I know Tab is a good program. So I mean, Denby, if you can get these wins, 2 out of the next 3, I think you'll, and hopefully maybe you'll win all 3. But I'd love to see you in the playoffs. Kirk and I were just talking about it would be amazing and great if the 757, but I would love specifically for the city of Hampton to get 3 state champions. We can get 3, Division 3, 4, and 5. That would be amazing. So we're pulling for you, Coach.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good football in our area, and not just on the Peninsula District, but across the water as well. I mean, we just need to take care of ourselves. I mean, we have a big matchup tomorrow night where we need to get this stench of losing football off of us. I'm a firm believer that winning's contagious and losing's contagious. But I mean, just all of our games have just been kind of heart stoppers. I mean, almost coming down to the final seconds, and we found a way to win a couple of them. The first one of the year, we were up 14-0 at halftime, felt good about ourselves, and let them crawl back in the game, and had a nice 6-minute drive and kicked a field goal to win it. Mm-hmm. And Heritage, they kind of had some. They've kind of had a rough time. I mean, they had a COVID situation. They had about 2 days of practice to play us.
Yeah. Yep.
So we kind of took advantage of their situation a little bit. And Gloucester, honestly, that was probably one of our worst games that we played. You got to be careful looking at scoreboards, and I mean, it's easy to look at it's easy to look at a scoreboard and just kind of determine how the game goes. Some of these high school football games that have lopsided scores, a lot of it comes where teams start pressing a little bit and turning the football over and giving teams short fields. One of the big things for me is, I want to make sure that we're in a position to win every single game. So we try to take care of the football as best that we can, but we are who we are. We need to play field position. We need to give our offense short fields, and kind of depend on another team making a mistake and giving ourselves a chance. The Warwick game was 8-7, but they really ran the football well on us. Over the past 3 weeks, we've had a lineage of injuries. I mean, I've probably never been a part of anything like this, but it's next man up. We got to find ways. I think against Phoebus, we were down 3 offensive linemen, our 2 inside linebackers. We've been missing our probably our star defensive end, David Anderson, for the whole season, who's had a Liz Frank injury. We lost our other defensive end during the Phoebus game the other night. He's possibly out for 2 weeks. So, we've had our rash of injuries, but we don't make any excuses about it. I mean, like I tell all of our guys all the time, we didn't feel sorry for Heritage for their situation that they had to come play us in. And, Denby, Hampton, and Woodside aren't going to feel any sorrier for us, and nor should they. So we have to do the things that we have to control what we can control, and put ourselves in a position to try to stack some wins here and hopefully get in the playoffs and make a run at this thing.
Coach, let me ask, how is your team right now? I know this is only your second season, but how are you?
Kind of first with COVID, kind of like he said.
Right. Oh yeah. But let me ask you this: how are you guys a younger team? You have a lot of seniors, or what are your prospects looking for next year or in the future?
Seniors and juniors. I mean, we have a strong probably core of kids that are coming back next year. We have some pretty good seniors that we have too. We have
any kids you want to highlight?
Yeah, I mean, David Anderson's probably the one that's is a 6'5", 250-pound defensive end / tight end that has has multiple Division I offers. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to take the field at all this year. His health and he's got a lot of football ahead of him. So we're not gonna, as much as I would love to have him out there and helping our football team. He his health and making sure that he's setting himself up for his senior season, and not just his senior season but his college football career too. Is important to me. It's important to him. And, we're going to make sure we're taking all the precautions for that. But, yeah, I mean, we have a group of kids. Elijah Lee will be back next year. We have a young quarterback, Donis Stowers, who's a sophomore, who will be should be good. But, we have a group of seniors that are great too. I mean, not just harping on, I don't want to talk about next year when we have, such a strong team this year. We have Jakari Mazel, who's a consummate leader. I mean, he just carries himself by example. He's always pushing himself to get better. He's about a 6'3", 6'4" kid who should be getting college interest. Marvin McHugh, who's our senior quarterback, he's been nothing but just a consummate player since I've been there, and really not just these kids as players, but as people. These aren't just kids who are going to be great football players at the next level, but they're going to be great husbands, fathers, people in our community that are going to be leaders. I mean, that's what, some of the things that are most important to me. And I can see those things from our young men.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
So, you come from a school, or you're at a school that has great tradition, has won consistently. And, back when we were coming up, Phoebus was really bad until they got good. Bill D got there. Matter of fact, we never beat Kecoughtan from when I graduated. The next year, we beat them. And we had to forfeit that game, by the way. So there was a little bit of black, and I'm not, a lot of people know about it.
Y'all are just cheating over there. That's what it is.
There was a little bit of bad blood between Newsom and D because somebody's competitive and said, hey, you got a kid on the roster that wasn't eligible, but we didn't win. We wanted the next year. But yeah, I mean, the tradition of Kecoughtan football is really good. Great players, really good program, puts out some good athletes. Gerard Mayo's a Pro Bowler. We know so many players. It's like the highlights, but we're just talking about some of the regular players and what they've done with their lives. And, Kecoughtan's a great school.
Kecoughtan, when the time we're in school, you're talking about Doxy Jordan, Bill Boyd, Dwight Hollier. All three of those guys went to UNC. Kevin Brown played. Yeah, Ralph Brown. Oh yeah, Ralph Brown at Virginia Tech. Kevin Brown went to Hampton University.
Tailback for Tech. Eric Williams went to JMU. Dwight and Doxy both went to UNC. And then Mark Vernil, 88.
That's right.
He's the town manager, started for 3 years.
We're talking about just a group of kids that were within a 2 or 3 year window, all playing together. And but that tells you, Jay, it's been a lot of talent coming out of that area. So, like I said, we're big fans of anybody from Hampton. So we're really rooting for you, Coach. We just talked, about your current team, but let's get to let everybody know a little bit more about Coach Super. Tell us a little bit about your playing career. Where'd you go to high school? Did you play youth football? Tell us about your college experience, position, and everything.
Yeah, I've always been a football junkie. Ever since I was a young boy, my dad, didn't play football. He actually played collegiate basketball at Penn State. And yeah, but the basketball thing was never for me. I honestly didn't start playing football. I tried a lot of different things. I actually was playing, as crazy as this may sound, in the 757. I was playing ice hockey for a long time. So I'm a big hockey fan too, which is weird. But I didn't start playing high school football until I got to high school. And I started out – I just wanted to be on the field. I was just one of those kids that was like, look, I don't care where I play. I was a decent athlete, but, I was kind of one of those, I guess, probably coaches' dream kids that, came in and was, like, hey, what do you want to play? And I was like, hey, whatever's going to get me on the field type of thing.
That was good.
I started out as a quarterback in a wing T offense. And
wow.
Yeah, which is pretty wild. I was actually at a 7-on-7 at Lakeland High School with Kings Fork. And you got to understand, Kings Fork wasn't, exactly a powerhouse football team at the time. Not as good as they are now. But, I was standing on the sideline tossing the football back and forth with the kid. And our head coach came up to me or Cecil Phillips at the time, I was like, hey, what do you think about playing quarterback? And I was just kind of like, hey, whatever. Like, whatever gets me on the field and gets me some playing time. And I did. And my first drive ever in 7-on-7, had no clue what I was doing. I took him down the field and scored a touchdown. And
wow.
Yeah. And then played JV, had an awesome first scrimmage, but it was all downhill from there. I mean, I just didn't have the quarterback in me. I had transitioned to, I really wanted to play linebacker. And, I like to, I guess, hit people. So I had moved to that. And
you played hockey. I know you like to hit.
Yeah. So I had moved to linebacker, my sophomore, junior, and senior year. And then senior year, I played some offensive line too. I just tried to kind of be, played every special team. It's just, I wasn't really necessarily good at really anything. I mean, honestly, I just did a lot of different things. And, I got an opportunity to go to UVA Wise and play, which was an awesome opportunity. And I loved every second of it. They gave me an opportunity to go up there and play. And, I loved every second of it. And, it was a long way away from home. But I tell kids all the time, I hear, a lot of our kids are the same way. They are, hey, I just want to go to college football and play.
Yeah.
And I tell people, you see what you see on TV with the Clemsons, Alabamas, Virginia Techs, and while all those things are great, that's not reality for a lot of people. You play Division II, Division III football. It's long bus rides, it's cheap hotels, it's small crowds. You're going to find out how much you really love the game. And, for me, I just had a huge infatuation with it. I always have. I can't. It's probably not even a love at this point. It's probably just an obsession. It's just something that I've been around, and I just thoroughly enjoy it. As much football as I can get my hands on, I just soak it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
We talked about, my mom is from Wise. So
right.
My grandfather was a coal miner, and I used to go there in the 70s, and it was Clinch Valley College, which you.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Like this UVA Wise, I just started hearing about it a couple of years ago. I knew it had to probably have another name before. How long have they had a Division II football program?
So the Division II thing is fairly recent. They were actually NAIA.
Okay.
Don't quote me on this, but they've probably been Division II program for about 6 or 7 years. Now, when we were NAIA, we basically played a Division II schedule per se. I mean, we played Wofford, and I think when they were like the number 4 team in the country. they gave it to us pretty good, but they they run with the triple option that they ran. But yeah, I mean we basically played a Division II schedule. I mean we played a mix of Division II, NAIA, Division III. A lot of teams in Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, some of those small schools that people have never heard of. I mean, most people in this state haven't even never heard of UVA-Wise before. And so, there is another side of the state. There's not much there, but I will say one thing: they do love their football over there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was just there in July, and a lot of people do not realize, because the schools are small, how good sports. I don't know if there's a lot of basketball players, but man, if football and baseball, just you've got a lot of really good football players down there.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I was there, I mean, Thomas and Julius Jones are from there. Heath Miller, who played for the Pittsburgh Steelers and UVA.
Is that near Gate City? Is anywhere near Gate City?
He'll tell you where it is. I know where Gate City is.
Yeah, Gate City it's I mean, there's all type of different little towns and suburbs. I mean, there's Norton, there's Pound, there's all the Clintwood. Clintwood was where Justin Hamilton was from. Yeah, so
I know Gate City had a lot of Virginia Tech players. Yeah.
So
Rusty Pendleton. Yeah.
Chad Beasley, Jake Housewright, Jonas Housewright, Bill Housewright Sr., Tom Beasley,
Mac McClung, the kid that played for Georgetown. His dad,
Lakers.
McClung, his dad was with my brother and you at Virginia Tech.
He's the district attorney for Scott County, and Gate City is the county seat. So, and Wise is the county seat for Wise County. And my cousin lives in Powell Valley. Literally, you go out, and I don't know, about a quarter mile away, Thomas and Julius Jones' parents' house is there. But there's a lot of really good athletes that come out there. Baseball players have come out of there.
Yeah,
they play good football, and they're very passionate about it. A lot of legends down there.
I mean, they're Friday nights. I used to go out to games.
Oh yeah.
I used to go out to games when I was in college there. A couple of my friends, played high school football out there, so we would, on a Friday night, go to a couple of the games like Powell Valley. Phil Robbins was the head coach there for a long time, and I mean, the crowds that they get out there, they, it's single A football, but I mean, they pack the house for those games. There's not a whole lot else to do, and I mean, for those kids out there, the environment that they get for high school football, I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah, my uncle, he's the youngest of 12. Mm-hmm. He played halfback, tailback on the same team with Carroll Dale. Carroll Dale played in or wide out, and that was 1956, I believe. They played for J.J. Kelly, which is no longer open. Was that open when you were there, Coach?
Yeah, it was. It's crazy is that the schools out there, I mean, they were so old. I mean, they had wood furnaces to heat the schools. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it was kind of like, what? You're hearing some of this stuff. You're like, that's insane. I mean, but they were there. And, I actually had the opportunity to meet Carroll Dale on a couple of occasions. I actually went to, I think I kind of mentioned this to you last night, but, I actually, when I was there, was looking for a church to go to. And
that's awesome.
On Easter Sunday, went there, and he had me over at his house for Easter. I mean, just a consummate person. Just sitting down in his office, at the time, I didn't really know who he was, I guess. But you walk in his office, and, it almost looks like, it's just got memorabilia everywhere. And, so quickly we had conversations, about some of the things, with him playing for the Green Bay Packers, and playing for Vince Lombardi. Some of the stories that just kind of go along with, the aura of Vince Lombardi. I mean, you don't meet people every day that got to play for, one of the most legendary coaches that's ever, been on this earth, just the stories that he had. And then, he played for the Minnesota Vikings for a couple of years. And I think he played in 3 Super Bowls, if I remember correctly, just kind of, talking about that and, how different the Super Bowl was back then compared to what you have now. It was an awesome time.
Yeah. So the church that you went to, if you went to his church, my uncle built that church. My uncle used to be in construction,
Right.
and he probably built half of residential Wise County, little bit of commercial. So yeah, so I mean, you got a good vibe. I mean, that's some nice living out there. It's a little, you got to go to what, Kingsport or Johnson City for the big city, right? To get
Yeah, what they consider big city out there, Johnson City is about 90 minutes away, and that's the closest mall that they have. And yeah, it's not exactly what I would consider big city, being from the 757 area. But
yeah,
right.
But yeah, I mean, it's small, but there's great. I mean, the people out there are just great. I mean, they're just great people. It's a great community, especially to raise a family in. That's for sure.
Right. So you finished up at ODU, Coach, and talk to us about getting into coaching.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was wondering the same.
Yeah. So, I knew I wanted to coach. I didn't really know how I was going to get into it. But my brother was playing quarterback at Lakeland High School in Suffolk under Glenwood Farabee and Mark Farabee, who's the head coach in Indian River now. Mm-hmm. So I was just, kind of out, just kind of, observing some practices. And, Glenwood Farabee, it kind of came up to me and, had asked me, what I had thought about getting into coaching. And I said, yeah, I did. And, I was finishing up classes at Old Dominion, and, I instantly fell in love with it. I mean, he gave me a lot of responsibility right off the bat, probably more than he probably should have. And being, 23 years old, you think you know everything, and, really you quickly find out you really don't know much of anything. You've been around the game, and I got to play, under Justin Hamilton at UVA Wise. He had kind of encouraged me to get into coaching, actually. And I did. And then, it was doing, coaching at Lakeland for a year. And, kind of the crazy thing is while I was doing classes, I mean, just kind of how, I guess, dedicated I was to the coaching field. I was working at Subway as an assistant manager. I was getting off of, would go in at 5 a.m., get off at 2 o'clock, go straight to Lakeland football practice, would leave and drive down to Old Dominion and take night classes until 9:50 at night. And I was getting home at 11 o'clock every night, and still trying to find ways to break down film. And I mean, I tried to give it everything that I had. And then, Glenwood Farabee had gotten a job at Hampton, or at the University of Hampton, or Hampton University, after, he had 2 successful seasons at Lakeland. He became the quarterback coach there and offensive coordinator. So from there, I kind of transitioned over to Nansemond River with David Coakley. And Stan Sexton, who was at Phoebus for a little while. He was actually offensive coordinator.
83.
Yeah, he was our offensive coordinator there. And when I first got to Nansemond River, I was nothing but a scout team coach. I probably just held up cards and got screamed and yelled at all day about why the scout team wasn't performing up to it, by Stan and David. But they kind of quickly figured out that, I probably had a little bit more expertise than just holding up cards. And, they kind of gave me more and more responsibility as we went along, and, worked my way all the way up to, assistant head coach. Because I think Justin Conyers, who had taken over for David Coakley, had, noticed that, I wanted to get into to be a head coach at some point, and, really started giving me more of a hands-on approach of how to handle parents and fundraising and, all the other little things that go into being a head coach at the high school level, rather than just X's and O's. And, I can't thank him enough for that. And then, after about my 4th year at Nansemond River, I thought the time was right. We'd had some successful seasons. We had went to the state semis. We were a playoff team, and we've been a playoff team every year that, I was an assistant coach from Lakeland and Nansemond River. And I just felt like the time was right to throw my hat in the ring. Kecoughtan was a job that had become available. And, applied and got an interview. I didn't know if I stood a chance, but the only interview I've ever gotten, I definitely came in as prepared as possible, and I got the job, which is probably not the way it works for a lot of people to get one interview and get a job as a head coach. So, but yeah, I guess the rest is history after that.
Oh, cool. Do you work in the building?
I do. I'm a teacher. I teach a class called Success 101. So.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
your life is an example of that. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I can tell you, man, that's a prestigious job in high school football. The city of Hampton has got 4 great programs, and for you to get that job at your age says something about you. Who was the AD and the principal, by the way, Coach?
Lucas Brown was the athletic director, or is the athletic director, and then Mark Dorsey was the principal who had interviewed me, and he had retired right after he had hired me, and so Dr. Whiteman is now the principal at Kecoughtan.
Okay,
Coach. Well, I'm like I said, I'm good friends with, well, not just the head coach and the prior head coach, William Beverly, who was the coach before Inco at Bethel High School. We all played together. In fact, William and I were the backfield for Bethel for a couple of years, and we have the same birthday. So shout out William Bill Beverly. But yeah, I wanted to ask you that, and I meant to ask Coach Inco this, and I've also brought it up to the athletic director, Lee Barton, who's the athletic director at Bethel, but he also
he's an awesome guy. I love Lee. Yeah, Lee's a great guy.
At Kecoughtan, Lee and I went to middle school together. Lee was a great athlete, not a good, but a great athlete growing up. I mean, he's excellent basketball player. He played at CNU and good football player too, really good. But one of the things I'm wondering about is up here, it's a little different. It's probably actually like it is across the water. In Hampton and Newport News, they play in city stadiums. They share Darling Stadium and they share Todd Stadium. And one of the things, up here, I know funding can go different ways, but one of the things I wanted is, are you guys, because Coach Inco and I were talking about this, where on the peninsula on our side of the water, it's still kind of playing more like Big Ten football, whereas the other side is playing a lot more like the Big 12, throwing it around, a lot faster game. But can any of that be attributed to the fact that we don't have a turf field at Darling Stadium? And I say that because you've got 4 teams sharing that field, and I'm sure there are other sports being played there. Is there any talk of getting that? And I've asked, Lee, is there any talk about getting a turf field? And I say that because up here, now, it may be a little more money, but like even they play the high school games at the high school. And so almost everybody at least has a turf home field, but now some of them are even getting like a turf practice field. What do you think? And do you think that would enhance your game? Would that speed help, or do you like playing on grass?
Well, I like grass for the simple fact that it probably, well, not for our situation, but it probably has a little bit less injury risk. But I think for all intents and purposes, I think it's a long overdue process at Darling and Todd Stadium to have a turf field, especially when you have programs that are going to be hosting playoff games later in the season. When it starts getting colder and the ground gets a little bit softer and, you get bad weather games. I mean, you have one bad weather game there, you're doing damage to the field for the rest of the season. I will say the grounds crew at Darling and Todd, they do a great job of keeping it. I mean, the times that I've played there, I've never had, a negative experience per se, but I do believe it's a long overdue process. If you're going to have, 3 and 4 games there, or, at least 3 high school football games there a week, you're pushing the limits, and probably it's an investment that needs to be made. I mean, they invested, almost $350,000 in all the high schools to build new weight rooms. Okay. And I think, we, especially as head coaches, we talk about this all the time, that, we talk about wanting to have kids participate in sports, but I think there's a lot more give that could be given by, and I'm not trying to put Hampton City Schools or Newport News City Schools or any school district, under the bus, but I think there could be a little bit more give, just throughout the state of Virginia into athletics. I mean, athletics has so many positives, we all know. And, I think it only encourages the kids to come out and play, want to be a part of something. And, I'm a firm believer, even with the class I teach, is that, these kids really need to attach themselves to something, whether it's sports, whether it's, whatever their clubs that they want to be in to, be successful. So, yeah, with all the sports that they have there, I think it's an investment that they should make. But will they? It's hard.
And Coach, you don't have to say it. I'll say it. I'm a proud alumni. I played in Darling State. I played in the old Darling Stadium. My brother was in that transition year. I think he played in the last game at Darling. Bethel beat Hampton. I think that was in 87, fall of 87. But I'll say it. Get a turf field. You will bring a lot more championships to the Peninsula District. I'm telling you, because we got teams like Phoebus that are going to be hosting playoff games, and the field should be the least of their worries. Right. But you're talking about 4 teams in Hampton, 5 teams in Newport News that are sharing this field. It's an investment that is well worth it. So Hampton City Schools, come through for our kids. In fact, I would even say not just give them a turf field at their game stadium, but give them a turf field at their practice facilities. You got a lot of teams sharing the same practice field for a lot of sports. So I just think that's well overdue, and it's worth the investment, So I'll see it for you, Coach Super.
I agree. Sooner the better. Okay.
Coach, how can alumni support your program? Because we're in our 50s, and we know folks that went to Kecoughtan who are very successful in life now that'll watch this. A lot of friends, 82, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What about your booster club? What about your fundraisers? We got people spread all over the place. A lot of people still down there. A lot of people all over the place. How can they support Kecoughtan football and Kecoughtan athletics overall?
Well, we obviously have our Kecoughtan High School Facebook page that, we try to keep up to date as much as possible, with everything that's going on with not just our football program, but our student athletes and, things that are going on throughout the school. I tried to do, one of the things is, we had talked about the history of Kecoughtan. As soon as I kind of got the job, and we had the COVID shutdown where we had lost our football season, and it was kind of, not exactly the most enjoyable time for everybody. But I did do a, where are they now segment.
Oh, wow.
Page, just kind of people who've come through the program, different assistant coaches, players, head coaches. Kurt Newsome had an opportunity to talk to him. So it's not only just a way for me to connect and learn about the past, because I'm not from that area like the other 3 head coaches are, and so I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to build connections on that side of the water. That doesn't just happen overnight. That comes through time, but so I could learn about the program, because I think. Kecoughtan, it has a lot of history, and and I think a lot of people kind of forget about that. With some of the success that Phoebus and Hampton have had recently, Kecoughtan kind of, not, unless you've come from there, it's kind of the afterthought, kind of the school, and just trying to, build that gap and even teach our players that, hey, look, Kecoughtan, the one thing that's crazy about Kecoughtan is. Kecoughtan has never won a state championship in any sport, and it's
really,
it's kind of one of those things that's like, man, like they've been around this long.
Great athlete.
They've been runner-up numerous times in different sports, but they've never.
Yeah, Coach Newsome had them in the finals.
That's right. That was
some great basketball. Basketball has been good there for a number of years too.
Right, and it's kind of one of those things that's kind of like, wow, like that's kind of crazy. You look at Hampton that has. God knows how many state championships in football alone. Phoebus
17.
Bethel's won state championships, and it's just kind of like, somebody, and hopefully it will be us at some point in time. We want to be one of those teams that, brings a trophy to the school and starts to, really show that, we can be an athletic school just like the other ones can.
Yep.
Well, that'd be great.
We want you to win one because we want everybody in the city of Hampton. Matter of fact, we want you to win multiple. Because you're in a different division than Phoebus, so I don't really care.
Well, you can. How about you just start out by getting to like the regional final against Bethel, losing a close game, and we
yeah. I mean, I'm just for me, like we just need to get a win tomorrow night. Like, so
right.
That's kind of where we're at right now. So
why don't you do this?
We just need to get one. I'm so concerned about tomorrow night. We take it. I'm a mindset of just taking one game at a time. We're not. I'm realistic of where we're at. We need to make the playoffs, and we just need to consistently keep getting better and give ourselves a chance.
Yeah. You guys used to. I think you were the last school that was still Division 6. You're Division 5 now. Mm-hmm. Why don't you go ahead on, change some of the boundaries, get a few more kids, go back to Division 6, and then we can have 6, 5, 4, and 3 state championships, all with the city of Hampton. And you can tell them that the Kirk and Byrd show made that recommendation.
We owe Bethel one, so we'd like to see them again. That's for sure. I know you're a Bethel guy, but we definitely owe them one. So they probably feel like they got the upper hand on us, but I wouldn't mind seeing them again. That's for sure.
Coach, I think you've got a really bright future. You've got a great job, and it's no accident that you got that job that young because, anybody who knows football knows that Kecoughtan is a really good job. And I know that if you got that job at such a young age, Kurt Newsom is just a legendary coach. I mean, and he got that job, as I told you, at 28. And I know what kind of person he is. If you need his help, he's there for you.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I've reached out to him a couple of times, and he has been nothing but receptive. We talked about the school, and he came by, because he's with Emory and Henry now. He came by. Oh, yeah. I would say, I think it was probably over the springtime, or right after the springtime, and took him around and kind of showed him some of the things that have changed, and some of the things that have remained the same. He's just kind of taking it down. He's just kind of taking a tour through, I guess, memory lane, and kind of telling me some of the things that, and I appreciate all those things. I'm a big historian. I love the game. I love hearing, everybody else's different perspectives, because that's something that I really appreciate.
Yeah. Well, he started as a sophomore for Kecoughtan. He was one of the few sophomores, and that was 74, 75 actually. And he and Boo Williams played for Kecoughtan. And it is a rich history, but thank you so much for coming on. You got anybody you want to thank, or, your kids are playing Denby, and just any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, so let's do it this way. The last question I have for you, Coach, so you can wrap this into it. If you could give us, and you don't have to be that long, but tell us, who would you say has been one of the most influential people in your life? Or maybe a role model, a person that you actually could, when you talk to, or just somebody that you just observed from afar and kind of admired how they carried themselves. So it can be one or both of those. And then after that, anything else you want to close with.
Well, I mean, you could do a whole show on that, I guess. But, my family, I just, I can't thank them enough, especially, being a young coach and having almost a 2-year-old, my wife, and, her allowing me to live out my dream of being a coach, and her taking care of our child. I can't thank her enough. I can't thank my parents enough for, everything they've done. My father has always been there for me. I still, even after that Bethel loss, just calling him on the way home and just kind of venting, my frustrations, just having that ear that, my father has a big saying, you're never as good as you think you are, but you're never as bad as you think you are either. And, sometimes those words are a little bit easier to listen to than others, but that, and then, just the other coaches that I've coached with, all the, Glenwood Farabee for giving me an opportunity, David Coakley, Justin Conyers, Lou Johnston. Stan Sexton. I've been around some really good football coaches, state champion coaches. I hope at one point in time that I'm able to reach their level and, that's the goal. It's a goal, and it may feel a little far off right now, but the goal is at some point in time to be holding that trophy and being the last team standing. And I've never been to a state championship game, and I won't. I refuse to go to a state championship game. I refuse to watch a state championship game until I'm participating in it. And
I hear you.
hopefully,
All right.
so I'm hoping that opportunity will present itself at some point in time. But I guess that's where we'll leave it.
Okay.
All right. Well,
So
thanks,
we really
Coach.
appreciate you coming on. And specifically, what's your Facebook page?
For Kecoughtan?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Kecoughtan High School football team.
Okay. The Kecoughtan High School football team. The Kecoughtan High School football team.
Yes.
Because Rusty and I know a lot of people, and I probably got as many friends on social media from Kecoughtan as Phoebus. So we want to ask all my Kecoughtan friends, all right, go to the Kecoughtan football team Facebook page. Figure out how you can give back to the program. John Schwartzman, Teresa Euler, Teresa Owens, Jerome Boyd. You might know Jerome. He's still around there. Just so many people. Doxy Jordan, went to elementary school with him. Jason Wallace, the other Jason Wallace, buddy of mine that I went to Langley Elementary with. So
the Brown brothers.
Let's get Kecoughtan a state championship. And let's get you rolling, Coach. We would love to have you back on, because what we want to do is a playoff preview, and the playoffs are coming up, and you're going to be in them, because I know you can't say this, but you're going to roll over Denby. I know a little bit about Denby, so it's not a problem. I know it's going to be a tough game, a nail biter, a real close one, but I would love to see you beat the Crabbers. You can crush a Crab. In my senior year, Kecoughtan shocked Hampton. So thank you for having us on. If you could encourage your kids to subscribe to the Kirk and Byrd Show on YouTube. Our podcast, if you ever want to listen to it audio, is on Google, Spotify, Apple, and what's the other one, Rusty? I always forget it. We got 4 platforms. But you could just look it up. And on Twitter, which we know the kids are big on.
Right.
We're starting to get a bigger following down the 757, because we've lived up here for 30 years. But we're at the Kirk and Byrd. It's not show. BYRD. Follow us on Twitter. We're going to do a lot up here. We're going to do a lot down there. And we're going to cover a lot of local sports, because no platform really covers high school sports. So there's a video on Kecoughtan Soccer. Oh, I didn't mean to promo my own page. It's called the Kirk Effect. The Kirk Effect. We're on the Kirk and Byrd Show. But anyway, Coach, good luck tomorrow night. Tell your kids we're rooting for them. They're going to make the playoffs. Once you hit the playoffs, you never know. And by the way, is the state championship at ODU, Coach?
It is. It is.
There you go. All right. Well, maybe you have a reason to go to Foreman Field.
We just need to get this one tomorrow night first. But I appreciate you guys having me on. The pleasure was all mine. And anytime you guys would like to talk, please let me know.
Absolutely.
Man, we really appreciate you. Hey, look, Coach, we're getting into our season of getting coaches. So we're going to have a coaches challenge. We had Coach Incremenius. We had Coach Jeremiah Davis. He was a head coach at Herndon, West Potomac. He also is defensive coordinator for Westfield. And we're going to have on next week, we're going to have on Bishop Ireton's coach, Gary Wortham, who's got a lot of kids playing big-time college football. So let's see which coach can get the most views. All right, tell your football players to watch this, tell your family, and let's see who we can have by the end of the season. Which high school coach can get the most views for the Kirk and Byrd Show? So thanks again, Coach. We really appreciate it. Kirk and Byrd are out.
We are out.
Y'all have a wonderful evening.